This video is just a little reminder of some things to think about when you're making a choropleth map. Some people call it a heat map, but the proper name is a choropleth map, like the one on screen that I've got of population density in districts across the UK. If I double click on the layer, we can see in the symbology that we have 5 classes and the mode of classification is equal count. Now that's probably going to be your default, but remember, even accepting the default is a choice. With something like population density, maybe this is an okay classification, but the quantile will put roughly the same number of areas in each group, and we can see that if I click on OK and then right click the layer and choose show feature count. It depends how many total areas are in your data set. In this case 379 doesn't divide perfectly, but there's 76 in nearly all groups, but 75 in one, so we've got 76 areas in each category, and that kind of makes some kind of sense here. If we chose a different classification method like natural breaks and click apply, we obviously get a different pattern. In the case of the UK, we can see this puts 252 in the lower category and only 7 in the higher one, because we have some outliers. It's best just to take some time to read up on the different classification methods and understand what they do. But if I go to equal count and click apply, it's back to a more sensible classification method for this kind of data. I'll change it to 10 classes and click apply, we get a different pattern. If I change it to 2, we'll get a different pattern altogether. So if I change it to 5 and I hit apply, we'll see what we had first. Now, if you do have data where there are some kind of logical groupings, like if you're doing property values, these random numbers will make no sense. You usually classify properties in chunks of say $100,000 or £100,000. If you want to do something like that in QGIS, you can use this pretty breaks option. And you can see the pretty breaks is just nice round numbers, but it may not make sense depending what data set you're using. So once again, I'll switch it back to equal count. So there's a roughly equal number of areas in each category, and I've got 5 groups here. So the message is, don't just accept the defaults, understand your data and try and educate yourself a bit about what the different classification modes do, and then your final maps will be probably better and more meaningful for your intended audience.